I'm taking a look today at the Minelab Sovereign. Now, why would I be looking at a 30-year-old detector, you might ask? Well, it's a really cult detector. The Sovereign originally came out in 1989 as the XS, and then it went on to a few other iterations up to the GT, where it was discontinued then, sadly. But I'm sure many of you are still using and running Sovereigns, and probably getting hard to repair them now because parts and things might be scarce. But people that tend to have them tend to hold on to them, and in my opinion, this particular coil, the white 8-inch coin search, was probably the best coil ever devised for the Sovereign detector. And as you know, many people came out of the woodwork with hundreds of accessory items: pinpointers, coils, shaft systems, straight shafts, bend shafts, crooked shafts, you name it, battery packs, all kinds of things to customize what was probably one of the most popular detectors in the world. And we're hoping that another one might make an appearance one of these days. But let's take a quick look at this Sovereign. Today I'm running a Sovereign XS2a from the early 2000s. So let's have a look at that. Now, these are my settings today. I'm just going to turn up my volume full because that is your sensitivity control. I have a little threshold. I have it in auto, no notch, no disc. I'm in discrimination mode and in variable tone. So I'm going to leave it at that because that is kind of foolproof, really. Well, the first thing I'm noticing is the weight. It's quite a heavy detector. And these are the types of signals that us Euro hunters like to hear, because they're wispy, they're low conductive. I have no discrimination or notch on, nothing. So I'm getting the true nuanced audio of whatever this might be. It could be scrap aluminum, or it could be lead, a deep lead ball, or a hammered coin, or anything really. Except it's not iron and it's not coke. It's out. And it's causing a little ruckus there. So now we see does the carrot interfere with it. And if the carrot can find it. Because what we're dealing with is probably very small and low conductive. And I'm looking at something very small, I think. No. I'm going to have to use my... Oops, I can see it there. I can see it there. I can see it there, everybody. It's a small copper coin. I think it's gone beyond it. But how about that? A little wispy low signal, and that's a low conductive copper coin. It's definitely a coin because of the shape. All right, well done to the antique XS2a. Now what's after happening here is I'm after passing over a piece of ferrous, so the threshold tone has assumed the ferrous tone, and that will remain constant now until we either bang the coil or something, or until we meet another target. Just one of the little nuances of the Sovereign, the usefulness of the threshold. You have to use it to get to the DPs, you know. And this is the Sovereign discriminating iron silently when the threshold quits and returns. Now you can isolate that to there, but you can see we're still getting reaction here, and the threshold has back. So there's not that much of a decline in the threshold. Now we have a repeat of that last one. Very precise there. Now that is such a well-defined tone. I can tell that this is round and it's dense by the signal return I'm getting. So I'm guessing musket ball because of the proliferation of musket balls in this particular field. I can hear some interference from the sovereign reacting to the carrot. So there we are, a little piece of history, and I was right about the density and the intensity of the sound. It's almost as if it was like measuring as it went across back and forth and giving me a kind of a thick response, if you get what I mean. I think you do if you're a relic hunter. Interesting one here now, it is very weak, feeble. Let's check an all metal there. Flick these switches down. At least it's easy digging because the soil is so wet, and the farmer is going to plough any day. Okay, it's in the pile of dirt. Yep, there it is. Looks like a piece of lead. Smaller, actually medium-sized ball. So that's why it was so weak, I suppose. But didn't miss it. Fair dues. Let's just measure that hole there. It's probably the whole width, the whole depth of the carrot, and another inch or two on top. So you can make that about 10-11 inches. Now you may be wondering why in some of this video I was using a shaft mounted sovereign detector. Well, the truth is it was so heavy it was really dragging down my arm, so I switched to the hip mount on an Xterra shaft. It's from an Xterra 705 and it actually worked out quite well. It's even allowed me to relax for a while. So yeah, I'm liking this old technology and this hip mount. Well, mystery solved. I was wondering when the farmer was going to plough this land. And it looks like he's at it today. Probably the first chance he's had, because thankfully the weather has dried out a bit. So, yeah, this particular stubble field won't be available to me much longer. I have a signal here now with the sovereign that's a typical BBS type response. What happens is you have this multi-rectangular wave format, and it takes its time to process everything, the discrimination, the ground matrix, the density and the diameter of the target. It does all that at the same time in what's termed broadband spectrum, which is like a 17 frequency, but in reality it really isn't 17 frequency. It might be 2 or 3, but the rest are harmonics. This is typical now of a sovereign. Okay, let's have to change it to a ferrous tone there. It's back. But oriented that way. So what do we have here? Well, let's find out. Now that signal sounded really rubbish to me. It sounded good, but there was a ferrous tone. And wouldn't it be great to have another coil to check it with? Well, I have one here. It's a concentric coil. And Minelab never went down the concentric coil route with the sovereign technology. All to do with ground ground analysis and rejection of minerals and things. I don't think the concentric would suit it very well. But Accelerator did, and they made several coils for the Sovereign. So let's slap this on and check that target with a concentric coil. So let's listen to that with the concentric search coil. And you'd have to say that is a huge improvement. Can't fault that. And before we dig it up, let's check it with another coil, a 12-inch coil, and see what difference that makes. And coincidentally, it's also an accelerator. Let's see what this sounds like with the 12-inch. Loud. Let's go into all metal. Kind of the same as the concentric, I'd say, but much better than the standard 8-inch. So let's see the 8-inch. Now what's happened here, sometimes with the old BBS technology, a weak signal can actually manifest itself later on with a stronger response, because the detector has got used to it. The sampling has taken place and the signal will be stronger. Minelab pointer, and I must admit that these pointers are much weaker than other commercially available pinpointers. And there it is. There's our little target. It's a lead shot musket ball. Nice one. Well done to the 3 coils and the Sovereign BBS technology. And I've got a boomer here. Nice soft earth. Let's throw this guy in again. Hearing a little whimper there now. So we just keep digging. And it's nice and soft, so I don't have to use a big digger. I just saw something shiny there. Something modernly shiny. And I can see something here now at the side of the owl. And now I can see why it was such a boomer of a signal. Looks like a big piece of bronze or copper or something. Hinge. Now, this is exactly the kind of signals I like to get with the SOV. This is where the Sovereign wiggle comes in, really. Try to coax a better response. So just an inch or two to go. And I think it's more lead scrap, I think. Okay, I've just got the screech of a low battery. And there we go. Signals sound different with the Sovereign in loose soil. They sound very wispy and weepy, and that's where the Sovereign wiggle is advantageous in getting to hear and coax the signal to be a better one, and to hear the audio nuances that only the Sovereign detector has. Here we go. Thank you, XS, for a fine performance today. Oh, you poor old thing. The dying, eloquent screech of a Sovereign flat battery. Well done. Well, I hope I didn't bore the pants off you today with this old classic Sovereign detector. It is one of my favorite machines ever, and I probably will never give this one up, and I'll continue to use it going forward no matter what technology comes out. So, as always, thanks for watching.